After a century of civil war, Japan's capital had been moved to Edo, now modern Tokyo. And by 1700, it had become the world's largest city, home to over 1 million people. Driving the city's spectacular growth had been a new class of hard-working merchants who'd grown rich, supplying luxuries to the aristocratic elite. But in Japan's strictly hierarchical society, it was unthinkable that mere businessmen could dream of a share of power. Instead, they created a new urban culture of their own.
They were a very clubbable lot. They wanted poetry, haiku reciting societies. They wanted the kabuki theatre. They wanted music. They wanted comedy clubs, and they got them. And when you have all that, what's the next thing that comes along? Of course, a new kind of art.
This art would take the form of an ancient Japanese craft, the woodblock print. Made by a community of artisans, from artists and publishers to woodcarvers and color printers. This was mass-produced art, not for rulers or religion, but for the people. Sold on every street corner for the price of a double helping of noodles, what came with it was a shot of pure metropolitan pleasure.
These prints glowing with this intense, spectacular colour are what we think about when we think about the greatest things that Japanese art ever produced. This is not an art made by some starchy official academy laying down rules. No, this essentially was generated spontaneously by the hungry consumerism of a bustling city like Edo, and it wanted to be entertained.
And these pictures had to play their part. They were called ukiyo-e, after uki, meaning both floating, but also uki-uki, excited or feeling bouncy. And their subjects were Edo's ukiyo, its licensed entertainment districts. Here were the stars of the kabuki stage. Here too were the city's most famous showgirls and courtesans wearing the latest fashions. These prints were like Playboy meets Vogue, and they put you in the front row of the catwalk. And then, of course, there was sex. Awaiting those who could afford it was the Yoshiwara Pleasure District, and there, ready to make the most well-heeled clients happy, were the exquisite Oiran courtesans. These women became immortalized in pornography.
But it's not all hardcore. Some of the most beautiful of these images of love are very delicate and tender. Passion indicated by the curl of toes or the touch of hands or by the nape of a woman's neck. And we feel almost as though we're in the room. And that happens because of what woodcuts are. They can't model light and shade very well. But what they can do with these swooping serpentine lines, filled with this extraordinary glowing colour, is make us dive right into this lovely amorous universe they present. This was an art everybody could afford that gave you pleasure. And if it's all a fantasy, so what's wrong with that? We can all use a fantasy now and then.
By the 1830s, coinciding with a boom in domestic tourism, Edo's printmakers expanded their subject matter to include the most famous vistas in the Japanese landscape. The artist behind this shift was Katsushika Hokusai, who for a time at the age of 70 turned his eye almost exclusively to a single landmark. Japan's most sacred mountain. In his 36 views of Mount Fuji, Hokusai pitted the restless working lives of Japan's common people against the ever-present cone of the mountain.